something called the art of fighting without fighting.
Hi and welcome back to Kung Fu Shrimp. If you watched my last video, you'll know a few months ago I sadly lost my Peacock Mantis shrimp Bruce. I'm not going to go over what happened again, but if you're interested, I'll put a link below to my video detailing the whole story. In this video, I want to give an update on the tank, as it's now been running for over a year, and I've made some changes since my last video on it. I also want to introduce some new additions that I've added in the last few months, including new fish, new corals, and most importantly, my new mantis shrimp. Introducing Bruce II. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I introduce you to Bruce's successor, I want to take you on a quick tour of the tank, detailing a few improvements I've made while I was waiting for my new mantis shrimp to take up residence. With regards to hardware, I've added a second Vortec MP10 to the tank, as well as providing increased flow by setting both pumps onto random reef crest mode. Helps ensure a good random flow throughout the tank to ensure there are no dead spots where detritus can build up. I've also added a jump guard lid. I have already lost one fish to a suicide dive, and as I knew I was planning on adding another, and how that was likely to go based on the psychotic nature of the current inhabitants, it seemed a sensible precaution. Speaking of new fish, I would like to introduce the newest member of Bruce's posse. I've always planned on a trio of fish to keep Bruce company, however I had been struggling to fill the third spot, as my first two additions, a Fiji Blue Devil damselfish and a 6-line wrasse, were so murderous it was difficult to think of a fish that could hold its own with them. That was until I saw this guy in one of my local fish stores. Introducing the Magenta Dottyback. I had owned one of these years ago in my main reef tank, and remember him being a total nutter. So when I saw one again, I immediately knew this was the fish I'd been looking for. I also finally got round to naming them, so without further ado, let me introduce the boys, Psycho, Killer, and Beast. I've also taken this time to add some new corals to the tank, and although there's still room for a few more, it's definitely starting to look a lot more alive. In this tank, I didn't want anything too hard to keep, or that would require additional dosing, so I've decided to stick to soft corals, primarily mushrooms and zoas, which both come in some spectacular colour morphs. Overall, I feel that the tank is starting to get where I want it to be, and I'm looking forward to watching these grow out in the coming months. And now we've reached the point you've all been waiting for, or possibly skipped straight to, my new mantis shrimp. Bruce Jr. has actually been in the tank for a while, but I wanted to give him some time to settle in before putting him in the spotlight. When I got him, he was actually in fairly bad shape, with a bit of shell rot, and more importantly, -2 smashers. This is more common than it should be, as these are often removed to make it easier to transport them, a practice I do not agree with. I didn't actually notice this at first, and it was only when I hadn't heard any clicking from the tank for the first week that I realised Bruce II was unarmed. After this, I made sure to feed him soft foods only, initially in the form of small fish and cockles on the half shell, and thankfully within a week he'd shut up shop and started a molt. When he emerged a few days later, he had a shiny new shell and a new set of Diddy Smashers. I don't know if it was due to his condition, but when he arrived he was very shy. and for the first month or so he was very reluctant to leave his tunnel, although he would still come out to eat, providing the food was offered near the entrance to his lair. Since then, he's slowly been growing in confidence, and now has no problem coming further out of his cave for a tasty morsel. He has also recently started hunting in the tank, as evidenced by the abundance of shattered hermit crab shells scattered around his entrance. In recent days, his appetite seems to have jumped up another notch, and I'm hopeful he's already getting ready for another molt, which should see his clubs get back close to regulation size. I do have some plans for live feedings to keep his hunting instincts sharp. However, I'm not keen to do this until he's back to full fighting weight. So that's where things stand at the moment. Bruce and the boys all feel like they've settled in, and touch wood, everyone is getting along. Or at least it's not all-out war, which is probably the best I can hope for. My next plan for the tank will be to add a few more corals to fill it out, but before then I've just started getting some patches of red hair algae, so I'll be looking into ways to deal with that. It's not too bad at the moment, but it could start growing rapidly, so I'm keen to get on top of it now while it's not too much of a problem. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who posted comments on my last video about the death of Bruce Sr. These really meant a lot and helped me get through a tough time, so thank you. We're now up to almost 900 subscribers, which I still find hard to believe, but it does mean we're approaching the magical 1000 mark. I feel like I need to do something to mark this milestone, so if anyone has any suggestions for how to celebrate this, please post in the comments below. As always, please like this video, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all Bruce's adventures. It's also worth hitting that bell icon to ensure you've got notifications turned on, as I do not post on a regular schedule yet, so it's the best way to make sure you don't miss anything. So, until next time, thanks for watching.